look who
Well, I
we
got a
have.
lot.
My buddy Vincent Finetti. Hey, Vincent, how you
Hey,
doing?
how are you, Wayne? Great
I'm
to
doing
see
great.
you.
I'm really glad that you could join us today. This is great. I know that you've been working really hard on the COVID issue and working with all of us yacht brokers. So yeah, where are you, Vincent?
So I'm at my house in Vancouver Island. That's where I live. And so I'm lucky to have a home office here. So I've been working from home for the last 10 years, actually. So there were not too much change with me since the COVID-19. Of course, the change was travel. I don't travel as much as I used to, but I'm on Vancouver Island.
Yeah, so you're in Nanaimo, right?
Correct. I'm in Nanaimo. Yes, Nanaimo, Vancouver Island. Yes.
Yeah, it's great. If you haven't been there, you should go there, check it out. It's beautiful cruising up there, and stop and see Vincent while you're there. Say hi to Vincent. So Vincent, tell me a little about your background and what you're doing.
Okay, so my background is boat maquettes. No, I'm joking. Just like, but by the way, we have the matching background because you have a nice boat maquette behind you.
Yeah.
I have a boat maquette, and you have, and I don't know if you see, but I have the microphone right here too. So we have and you have your company shirt. I have my company shirt. So
all right.
We are on point here. So, okay, so now let's respond to that question seriously. My background, I've always had a passion for boats and passion for the sea. Starting when I was 15 years old, I started playing around, messing around with boats and buying and selling boats, flipping small boats. I started literally, my dad had a 4-horsepower engine in the garage. And one day I'm like, what is that saying? It's like, oh, that's a boat, outboard engine. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should use it, so have fun. So I called my best friend. I said, guess what? I have a little outboard engine in the garage. Why don't we buy a little boat? So we put $50 each, and we bought a little fiberglass boat. It was 3 meters. And that's how I got started. You know, my buddy and I went on the water and we're like, oh my gosh, that's just the best time ever. We're having fun. We have freedom. We're on the water. And so we got our first boat and we sold it for, $150. And we bought another one for $500 and we sold it and we bought another one for $1,000. And just from that, from 15 years old to 24 years old, I had 13 boats. So that was really my passion. They were an expensive boat, but it was just the passion of being around boats, fixing my boats and, going sailing, going boating. And after my studies, I have a master in event management. I travel around the world. And for a year and a half, I backpacked around the world for a year and a half. And I ended up where I met my wife in Canada. So since then, I'm in Canada since 12 years now. I never left. I got married to Jenna. We now have 2 little boys, Luca and Leo. And I'm so lucky that I ended up making my career around boats. I started as a broker when I came here like 10 years ago. And after that, I went into marketing and then I went back to brokerage. And now I also have Yachts Academy, which I have the opportunity to educate boat sales professionals on marketing and selling boats. So in quick summary, that's my story from 15 years old to today. And I'm 40 now. So you see 25 years of my life spent around boats.
Yeah, so another example of the blue mind I've been talking about for these last 4 days, about why you feel better emotionally, physically, you work better, everything's better when you're on, near, or in the water. And
Yes.
that's a book called Blue Mind. And if you're listening in, you've heard me talk about it, you should go read that book. It's great. And it traps us, trap me, trap Vincent, everybody you've heard talking today, they're all trapped by the blue mind. So yeah, really cool. So Vincent, you're a yacht broker. You're selling boats. And you thought that maybe you could help some of us poor brokers do a little bit better. So what'd you do?
So the first thing you need to understand is I try to look at what's going on in the marketplace. And of course, times are challenging today. If you look at what's happening, the beginning of the year was amazing. And then suddenly, we don't know what's happening. There is a virus coming and basically the entire economy is shut down. But luckily for us, boats are still very relevant in what's going on today. I mean, if you look at social distancing, getting on a boat is a perfect example. It's a perfect thing to social distance. Or we've been stuck at home for a while, and now we want to go and get some fresh air. So the first thing you need to do as a boat sales professional is realize that you need to realize that boats are relevant and you need to keep selling, but of course with sensitivity. And I think you guys are doing a great job at Atomic Tuna. And what does selling with sensitivity means is you need to keep working hard, keep being, making a lot of effort commercially, but you always need to have that sensitivity, that empathy, understanding that the problems that the population have right now with this virus. And you need to remind your clientele that you are open, because when the churches are closed, the school are closed, the bars and restaurant and businesses are closed, in the mind of our clients, they're thinking, well, guess what? Probably the boat businesses are closed too. But you need to show them that you are still there. Maybe the office is closed, but you are still there online. And you guys are doing a fantastic job to show your clients that, hey, look, we are still open for business and we are adapting, we're pivoting our business. So maybe instead of coming to the office, well, guess what? Check our virtual boat show. And I have to say that I'm very impressed by what you guys have been put together for that 4-day virtual boat show. You just jumped in the water and it was your first virtual boat show. You guys went all in. You didn't do 1 day, you did 4 days, and you have tons of panelists and very interesting things. I mean, I was just looking on it before coming. I was looking at those, I think it was Dave and Daniel that did the presentation. It was just fantastic, so good job for doing that.
Yeah, thanks. We sit here and we've been doing this for a couple of years. We've been doing virtual tours on our site. I know you've been doing that. You coach the other brokers on that. We've been doing walkthrough videos. And this we felt was an opportunity to really break that out, really expose people to it, and really get them to understand that you don't have to hop on in your car and drive across the bay or fly down to San Diego. You can do it sitting right here. And,
yes.
See these boats and figure out what you want without wasting a lot of time and money and travel. And especially with this COVID thing, we don't know what's going to happen. So it was an opportunity for us to really, get out there. And we saw what some of the other brokers did with their virtual shows, and we wanted to do it better. And hopefully we did. I don't know.
I think you did. Yeah. Because you went all in and we can see it. The organization was very nice, and I've been really impressed. I looked through the 3 days, and I always took a peek of what you guys. Of course, I was busy because I'm homeschooling my kids, and I have my businesses, so I didn't have the opportunity to sit in front of the computer and look at you guys' show. But I've been, quick looking at a few pics of what you guys were doing, and I was really impressed. Like, I've seen you guys docking boats live on Zoom and having a virtual party, and I was like, whoa, that's really cool.
Yeah, it took a team effort. I mean, everybody worked really hard. I mean, from Milan over in Serbia that helped us. I mean, if you look at our website, it's fantastic. I mean, there's so much information on there. To our technical guys, to Kevin doing the walkthrough videos, and Gailey pitching in and give me a break so my voice lasts through these 4 days. But yeah, we really worked hard, and hopefully, it's helped the people out there that are looking for boats or even looking to sell boats. We're looking to list more boats and get these boats out there. So what are you seeing with the market and other brokers? I mean, I think we're a little unique here in California, but what are you seeing? Because you talk to people all over.
Yes. So Yachts Academy, and I mean, I have the chance to work with people already all around the world, from some Australia, Asia. So I agree with what you're saying. Like, it's very unique depending on some situations. So some people tell me, oh, it's difficult because everything's locked down and the marina are closed. And some people, they still have the opportunity to do Citra and they're still doing very well. But overall, I think there is the response has been good, has been really positive. And we can see that boats are relevant. Clients are, let's say you were planning on having a boat and you're like, 1 day I'm going to have a boat. And now you get locked down at your house for a month. What do? Well, you're starting to think and imagine on your plan. So maybe there will be the things that will push help you to pull the trigger. And what I've seen with clients is, um, some people say, you know what, screw it, now it's a time to get a boat, let's just go get a boat and let's finally enjoy. So there have been a lot of transactions that have been reported, and of course there have also been, unfortunately, a lot of people that have been suffering in our industry from the lockdown. So, but I've been happy to see a lot of positives. And one of the main things you need to understand is, I think I'm always more curious to try to understand what's going on in the consumer's mind than what's going on in the brokers, because those consumers are going to buy the boats and to make the brokers, make a living. But when you look at what the consumers are doing right now, experts, psychologists mentioning that it takes 21 days to build a habit. Some people say it's 40 days, some people take 60 days. But guess what? People have been on lockdown for minimum 3 weeks to maximum, 2 months, 3 months. So all the habits they have been developing of looking for things online, shopping online, are going to continue in the future. And if you look at what's happening in China right now, even if all the restaurants are open, people are not going there because they have developed the habits of eating more from home and staying more from home. So what you're going to see is a lot of more digital progress in our industry. And what happened is, basically in a period of 1 month, we've made a 5-year progress in the digitalization in our industry. And you guys, you were what called pioneer, because I remember when I met you and when we started talking together, it was maybe a year and a half ago. I was already promoting digital brokerage, and I had wrote a book about it. And everything that I've been promoting on the book about the virtual tour and the video and things like this, the funnel, I was like, whoa, Atomic Tuna is already doing them. So I was already impressed with what you get. So you guys were ahead of your time. And it's very good to see that there is now a catch up from the rest of the industry to modernize the way we do business, because that's what clients are going to want and need. And I've seen a lot of transaction now. I've seen people saying, you know what, I'm just selling this guy. I was on the phone with a broker two days ago. He told me he's selling a Lagoon 40 or 42. And he said the clients didn't even see it. It was a FaceTime video showing the boats. The surveyor came. We did everything. I did a survey I did a sea trial with FaceTime. And now the guy is just putting the offer and they are finalizing. And the guy didn't put a feet on the boat. But so there is a modernization of the brokerage, and brokers that are not adapting are going to be left behind. So there are certainly very interesting times right now for our industry and for the business. Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've got, I think, 3 boats in contract with people that never got on the boat.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
One happens to be up in Vancouver, and he's just waiting to be able to fly down here and do the survey and purchase a boat, but he's all in. I asked him if he wanted a personal walkthrough, because we had a virtual tour on the boat and a recorded walkthrough. And he was like, I know this boat. Your photos are unbelievable. The walkthrough is great. I want this boat. $200,000 boat, and never been on it.
And again, you would think that maybe people will say, oh, you know what, it's an uncertain period, so I'm going to hold on. But I think people, I was discussing to someone the other day, and they were telling me that there were a dealership close to New York. After 9/11, he was surprised to see that people were going into the dealership and say, you know what, I need to buy a boat now, because they have been suffering so much emotionally from what happened during 9/11 that they're like, I need to get a boat, I need to get some fresh air and go on the water. So they were actually expecting things to go back, but things were actually better than what they thought, because people want to pull the triggers now. They want, like, okay, I'm tired of all that BS in the news and things like this. I just want to go voting.
So what's it like up there in Nanaimo? What are you seeing? Are people going out on boats, or they just
not too much? Just before coming here, I was just going for a walk with my kids on the beach, and I didn't see too many boats. I think I'm very fortunate in Vancouver Island. People are very conservative. So when you tell them do something, stay at home, they listen. And that's why we have very few cases. And I think we might get out very soon from this situation because people have been really cautious. But you start to see a little bit more activity, but unfortunately it has been slow even for boating. Yeah.
Yeah, down here we can still boat. I know San Diego, they closed San Diego Bay for a while, but I think they opened that back up to recreational boating. But yeah, this pandemic is serious. I mean, till we get a vaccine, till we get testing, we're gonna be under a cloud here. And social distancing on a boat, it's great. Go out there with your family. You're with them anyways. Go out on the boat. So we're seeing some use out there, but not a lot. The Coast
Yes.
Guard here in San Francisco has said it's a county problem. We're not going to do anything about it. The counties haven't done anything about it. So boating here in San Francisco is pretty much full on, except for racing. They've closed the racing down.
Yes,
Uh,
I see.
So, Vincent, you work with these brokers, and
Yes.
I know that you've been giving some seminars and advice and stuff. Tell us about some of that advice.
So yeah, the response has been good. So there have been a high demand for training over the last months, and I was quite surprised because when COVID came, I'm like, oh, just like everybody, I'm like, I hope I'm going to be able to find work, and to keep going my activity. And the demand for training was high, and I coached 80 students last month group. So we had some live Zoom call. I had 4 group of 20 students. And so the first thing that you realize is when there is a period like that, there is always a will for people to get better and to improve their game. And an example is what you guys are doing right now with the virtual boat show. It's fantastic. Like, hey, you know what? Let's not wait. Or let's not learn how to do it. Let's just do it. Right. And I told the guy, I said, look, right now, if you need to serve, you need to serve your clients. So you need to call your clients and make sure they're okay. You need to make sure maybe they need help if they're away from their boats and they can't travel to California, but they're boating in California. Maybe they need a hand to check their lines or things like this, and it's a perfect time to ask them for that. So I told them you need to focus on 3 things. Number one, you need to pivot your business. What pivot your business is you need to tell your clients, we are adapting our business to the COVID-19. Not just doing it, telling them. So you need to have a little checklist on your website. Here is the situation with COVID-19 and here is what our company is doing. So I told them that's the first thing you need to do is to show your clients that you're adapting. The second thing you need to do is one thing you guys are doing very well is you need to digitize your business. What digitize your business means use social media, because we've seen an increase in social media use, significant increase. I think there is a 20% or 17% increase in YouTube, 27% increase in Facebook, and general internet activity 30% increase, which is massive. People were spending a lot of time online, and if you add another 30% of that, it's just become extremely high. And virtual boat show too. I mean, you need to sell online. So I think what you guys are doing with the virtual boat show is great. And I predict that a lot of companies, because they're going to see you guys and also people that done virtual boat show, are going to start having some virtual boat show also. So that's the second thing. And the third thing is, yeah, you need to keep selling. And again, but when it comes to selling, you need to focus, instead of focusing too much on the product, try to focus really on the clients and say, look, what do you need right now? Well, trying to understand their problems. And that's what will help a lot, I think, is if you focus on those 3 things. So pivot the business, digitize the business, and keep selling with empathy. Keep serving and keep selling with empathy.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, we've been trying to do that, and we have a small team here, and it takes everybody to really, pitch in and work. And it's just a lot of work. Business is different. It's not sitting around waiting for the phone. We don't do that anymore. We
Yeah,
really get
you
out.
can't. I mean, if you do that, unfortunately, you're going to go out of business. You have to hustle right now. There's no other way. But if you do it, the results are there, and I've seen a lot of brokers having great results. We've helped a lot of broker getting great results this last month. Some of them are even better results that they had last year, but it wasn't without working hard. So that's true what you're saying. Yeah.
How about listings? How about people selling boats? Have you thought about that at all?
Yeah, so I think a lot of people will be on the a lot of people that have boats, they might say, oh, you know what, I have a boat, but I want to list it, but I'm not sure if it's the right time to list. And I would reassure your clients and tell them, yes, it's a perfect time to list, because there are a lot of people that are thinking like you, which means that there are less listings that are coming in the market now. The effect of this pandemic will take a little bit of time to develop and grow. So there are going to be a big afflux of listings that are going to come in the next few months. But right now, that it's a perfect time actually to list and market both when demand is high and the price are still reasonable. We haven't seen too much of a price drop on the listings yet. So it's a perfect time now to list boats.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. We haven't had much of any new listings yet. I think people they're kind of weighing that, whether they want to keep their boat. The people that already have their boat listed, some of them have said, well, I'm not really sure if I want to sell it now. And we've seen a real support of the market price. So we haven't seen any big discounts at all. And I don't think that's going to happen. What do you think?
Well, what we are experiencing right now as is unprecedented events. Like if you look at the unemployment numbers over the last 5 years, they were around 200,000 to 700,000, I think, maximum uh, weekly. But now they went to millions. I think they are like 20 millions,
It's
requests for
30 million
unemployment.
in the US.
So it's crazy. It's something that we are not equipped to predict. And I've seen some big economists saying basically it predicting is a fool's game right now, because what we are seeing right now is unprecedented. So I can't predict what's going to happen. And I think what my attitude has been since day one has been, look, I try even to don't focus on when the crisis is going to be over, but be over the crisis. It's kind of like my mentality. I'm forgetting the crisis and I'm doing my best every single day. And if I have a boat to market, I'm trying to market the best way I can. And if I have a boat to sell, I'm trying to sell the best way I can. And I wouldn't worry too much about the future. Let's try to be fast. Another thing you need to understand is we've heard a lot of people saying that divorce lawyers are going to be very busy after the COVID-19, because people are staying together. They are, getting on top of each other and things like this. So they were calling COVID-19 a relationship accelerator. But just like it's a relationship accelerator, it can be for us a sales accelerator. And we've seen that. I just told you an example about that guy that wants to, or you gave me an example about your guy in Vancouver that wants to buy your $200,000 boat. He took the decision fast. And same for the guys that bought the catamaran 40 feet. He saw it online. He said, okay, that's a boat. Let's do it. And now the deals are going much faster. And what brokers are telling me is like deals are happen to go fast because people, they want the boat and they want to go faster. So I wouldn't worry too much about waiting for things to come back to normal. Why? Because simply things will not come back to normal. What do I mean by this? After 9/11, you were going in an airport, things were completely different, and they have not gone back to normal since then. And it's going to be the same for coronavirus. What we call the post-coronavirus era. What's a post-coronavirus era? It's just an era where the consumers are going to meet differently, do business differently, buy differently, interact with one another differently. And we're going to have to adapt as businesses to this post-coronavirus era.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that. So if I'm sitting at home right now and I've been looking online and see a boat I want, I should probably buy that boat.
Of course, you should still do your due diligence, and even more do your due diligence if it's online, right? I mean, you're not going to buy a $200,000 boat just on a FaceTime video. You still want to have maybe a surveyor, or you can have your broker go on the sea trial and with a FaceTime. And if you can't travel yourself to go to the sea trial, so don't skip the due diligence. When you buy a boat, you want to proceed with the due diligence, but don't let this COVID-19 things delay your desire and your goal of having a boat. Blue Mine, again, we come back to that boats is going to do a lot of great things for you, and you need great things right now because times has been tough for everybody, emotionally, mentally, physically. We don't go out to the gym anymore and things like this. So we just need to get on the water and get some fresh air. So if you are lucky to be one of the person that decided, hey, you know what, I think I'm considering a boat, it's just a perfect time to do it. And yeah.
Yeah, so get out there and buy that boat. Have you seen any difference in the price of the market? You know, like less than 100,000, up to 200, up to 500, over a million. Have you seen stratification in the market at all, or?
As I said, it's because the demand has still been high. Because the demand has been high, we haven't seen too much of a difference in price in the market. So for now, I mean, of course, there is, I think, sellers are more responsive. So when they receive an offer, they are more likely to say, okay, let's do it because they are kind of worried about what's going to happen tomorrow. And they're like, okay, maybe if I want to sell my boat, it's better to sell now. So there has been a difference in terms of timing but in terms of the demand, the asking price, not too much because the demand has been high.
So let's say you're a buyer. What's your process? You're sitting at home. What's your process? How do you go about it? I want to buy a boat.
Well, look, if you're a buyer, first thing you do is you need to find the right boat. So don't just, if you have a $200,000 budget, you need to be educated about the process of buying a boat, and that's why it's very important to work with boat sales professionals that know what they are doing and that their goal is not just to sell you a $200,000 boat. You need to understand how much this boat is going to cost you per year for the insurance, for this, for that, for the repairs. And sometimes people have a $250,000 budget and they're like, oh, let's buy a $250,000 boat, but they don't anticipate all the expenses that are going to come after. So the first thing you need to know is understand the whole picture. And maybe either talking to friends that have been owning boats for a long time or talking to a sales professional that understand exactly the process of owning a boat. And that's the first things to do. And then start to look at a few boats online, do a pre-selection online. And once you find 2, 3 you like, well, do of course your final decision and strong due diligence on the boat you want to go. So which is a haul out, a survey, an inspection, and of course a sea trial. And if you cannot attend the sea trial, it's fine, but let the broker do the sea trial with a FaceTime and show you everything, report everything to you. That, and go fast, because there is no point. I mean, if you want a boat, you don't want to carry the stress of a purchase. Sometimes people, they are excited of buying a boat, but they will take months and months and months. And at the end, they get frustrated and might lose a little bit of time in the season. If you know you want a boat, just, trying to go faster than, of course, without, removing the steps in the process, but go for it. It's good for you.
It is good for you. Absolutely. So if I'm looking to buy a boat, I'm looking online. I see these virtual tours. Do I need a broker?
Yes, I would recommend. I mean, of course, you can without, but there are, you might have some problems, in the future. So what I would recommend is to work with a professional broker that will help you through the whole process. You might buy a boat once every 10 years. The brokers is buying and selling boats every single day, pretty much. So that's when experience comes, and it's very important.
So should I just use the broker that's listing the boat, or should I find a buyer's broker?
Um, well, I think what you should do is you should interview and you should have a few questions. Interview. Always trying to have a second opinion. Even if you see someone, you say, you know what, this is just an amazing broker, he's a nice guy, nice person. Oh, it never hurt to have a second opinion. So I would always encourage people, even working with us. I say, you know what, better before you make a decision, I encourage you to have a second opinion. It's always good. And when you say that, they will go get a second opinion, and 90% of the time, 95% of the time, they'll come back. But at least you know you're doing a good job and you know you work with integrity. And I think that's very important. So what I would recommend them is, yeah, just interview some brokers and make sure to work with a broker that is working for your best interest, not just trying to work for, selling you a boat or pressuring you to sell a boat.
In this COVID-19 pandemic, that doesn't change that at all.
Yes, exactly.
You still got to find a broker that you can trust and that's going to work hard for you. I think one of the things that we really strive for is not only doing this digital side of it and getting the information out to you, but building that relationship and building that trust. So you as a buyer or as a seller, you trust your broker. And we've had some buyers that don't trust us, and it's really frustrating for us because we really work hard, and it's a little disappointing when we don't get that trust. So it's hard to do that. I think that part of it, that personal part of it, may be a little bit more difficult now with the COVID. Thoughts on that?
I mean, at the end of the day, COVID or no COVID, you want to work with someone you trust. You want to work with someone you're comfortable with. You want to work with someone you have fun working with. Because at the end of the day, there is a fun aspect of boating. And if it's something that is going to bring you stress, if it's something that's going to bring you fear, it's maybe not a positive. It absolutely needs to go be a positive environment. Boating is a hobby, and the reason we do a hobby and the reason we have project is to decompress in our life. So even in COVID, I think even COVID is even more important, because there might be some brokers in COVID that are more stressed, they're more desperate to make a buck, or selling a boat. So make sure that your broker is working for your best interest. And in finance, they call that a fiduciary, which is the difference between a fiduciary and a financial advisor. Is a fiduciary has the obligation to work for your best interest. And that's a difference between a customer and a client. If you just look in the dictionary, the word customer and the word client, customer is someone that exchange money for a service or a product, but a client is someone that is under your own care, someone that you are advocating for. So your broker need to treat you like a client and not like a customer. And if you can feel that, if you can sense that, just go ahead and let them help you and achieve your dream of owning a boat. And yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That's good advice. So Vincent, you have Yacht Sales Academy. You teach brokers how to do a better job. What are your top 5 things that you tell them?
Top 5 things that I tell them is, well, I tell them new things every day. So one of the things that I tell them is, I say, hey, you need to have the right attitude, and the right attitude is very important. I like to give you an example of the lion. The lion is a king of the jungle for one reason, because the attitude. The lion is not the strongest, he's not the fastest, he's not the smartest, he's not the heaviest of the animal, but he's still the king because he's got the right attitude. So if you want to be good in your job as a boat sales professional, you need to have the right attitude. Another things I like to tell them is also, you really want to work hard every single day for your clients. So that's what we said, have that fiduciary mindset and not just trying to hunt for commission. That's also very important. And really caring. If you look at the definition of the word selling, it comes from an old English word sellen, which means to give. not to get, right? So the main thing here is to give. And of course, following up with clients is very important, because majority of the sales will always come from follow-up. And very often I want thing in my life, but I postpone them because I'm busy. And when I have a sales professional that is professionally following up with me, sometimes I'm very grateful for them. I'm like, you know what? Thanks for following up. Yes, I want to do this, and let's do this now. So follow up with your clients. And another advice, I don't know if it's a 5, but I give you, a few, is listening to your clients. Listen is an anagram of the word silent, and when you listen, you really want to be silent, really listen 100%. And it's very important to listen to your clients so you understand what they want. One of the questions I like to ask them is, look, there are hundreds of great things I can tell you about this boat, but what's the most important thing in a boat for you? And when they tell me it's a cockpit, for instance, or it's a galley, I would not jump into the feature and benefits of that cockpit and galley. I will look at them and I say, oh, great. So why is this important to you? I always try to listen and understand better. And the more information you have about your clients, the easier it will be to help them to achieve their dream of owning the yacht, the right boat for them.
Yeah, that's really good training for us. The first question we ask a buyer is, what are you going to use the boat for?
Yes, that's
we get buyers that come in and say, I want this boat, or I'm looking at this boat and this boat, and they're totally different. And it's like, well, what are you going to use it for?
Yes.
So you gotta get inside of that client and really understand them. And we really try really hard for that. The other thing that we do, and I think you're using it also, we use a CRM marketing program called HubSpot.
Yes.
And it's really powerful. And what it really helps us do is keep in touch with our clients, making sure that, we know if we need to call you tomorrow, that we can do that. We know, if the emails are going out, the social media, how that's working, and how everything works together. So I know you're using that now, right?
Yes, we are correct.
Yeah. So we got a couple minutes left. You want to give us a couple minute finale here?
Well, I wanted to ask you a question, actually. So what are your thoughts? What do you think? How do you think the market is going to evolve? And what have you been seeing with clients? You guys, as I was saying before, you guys were kind of like pioneer in that, in that digital brokerage thing. And you were one of the first to put, and I think the first to put such a big virtual boat show like this. But what are your predictions when it comes to the market?
Yeah, now you're putting me on the spot because this is recorded and it'll be up on our website. So here's what I think. I think that this whole COVID issue has people rethinking about what they're doing with their lives. And I think that the people that are not the lower end, the gig workers who unfortunately are out of work and really are struggling, the other people that are still working or they're retired, they have money in the bank, and that the dip in the stock market has hurt people, but they still have money. And I think they're sitting at home and they're looking at the internet and they're looking at our site and they're looking at the virtual tours, the walkthroughs that we're doing, and they're saying, you know what? I should be out there. I should be out there boating. And I've been working hard for a long time and I need to go buy a boat. Yes. And I really think that unlike the 2008 recession where new boat sales went to zero, it went right down.
Yes.
I think there's going to be new boat sales. Yeah. I think, I've got a 545, a $800,000 boat that I've got somebody that's interested in. It looks like they're going to buy one. We got some 425 buyers. This new True North we've got 3 people looking at that boat. And I didn't really expect that when this whole thing started.
Yes.
But I think the market's going to be really active. particularly for upper end cruising boats, cruising sailboats. I think that's going to be a big thing. And I also think that boats that people can just go down on and jump on and use it for the afternoon, and put it away and then come back, the next week, they're going to be pretty hot also.
Yeah.
So I
I
think the
agree.
market's going to be hot.
And I mean, if I have 1 or 2 more minutes,
Sure.
travel unfortunately is taking a huge hit. A huge hit. Travel and entertainment is like cinema and theater and things like this, and shows. But travel and entertainment were a direct competitors to boating. And the fact that people cannot travel, cannot go to do some social entertainment activities anymore, I think that boats is becoming even more and more relevant. So this is good. Now, the last thing I want to say, you asked me for my opinion, but I was very curious about yours because we had that conversation for an hour. Is I don't think COVID-19 is just a health crisis. I think it's much more than that. And I would say that it's kind of like a fourth industrial revolution. If you look in the past, if you look in the history books, every time you have an industrial revolution, and that can be the steam engine, or that can be the development of science and mass production, or the development of technology and services. Every time there have been an industrial revolution, there has been a mass migration of people. And what we have seen in COVID-19 is a mass migration from people. And unfortunately, they went from their job to home. But there has been a physical migration of those people. And because the business is adapting, because unfortunately, a lot of businesses are suffering and might not reopen, they're definitely going to change the way things are. And it's very important to adapt the way we do business. And for that reason, I will finish by saying that I'm so proud of you guys at Atomic Tuna. And I'm not saying that because you invited me as a guest. I'm really, really so proud because I've seen some big name in the boating industry. I'm not going to drop name, but some big companies with some massive marketing team and marketing budget. And none of them has put together a show that you guys have put over the last 4 days. So my congratulations to you guys. I really admire all of you guys for what you have been doing here, and you are an example for the boating industry, and I will use you as an example. I will use you guys as an example when I will talk about marketing, about the best practice in marketing and boat sales. So get ready. A lot of people are going to copy you.
Vincent, you're almost making me cry. Seriously. I mean, we work hard and we're a small group here and we really appreciate it.
No, you did work hard and it shows. I was really
we're doing
impressed.
this for the boating industry. I mean, we expect other people to copy us. I mean, we want people to really, grab a hold of this and, make this a better industry. And the only way we can do it is try and see what works.
Fantastic. Well, thanks again for the invitation. It was a pleasure. I will go back to my family for this Sunday, but it was my real pleasure to spend some time this afternoon with you guys. Okay.
All right, Vincent. We really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Wayne.
Vincent Finetti. Thanks so much.
Talk soon. Thank you, everybody. Bye.
All right. That was fun. Vincent's a great guy. He's really helped me a lot. And, he helps a lot of us yacht brokers be better brokers for you guys, our clients.